Hi, I'm Annie, and I've spent the last few months exploring some of the most beautiful places in Europe, and today I want to share some of my favorites with you. So here's my travel guide of the top 40 amazing places in Europe to visit. From stunning coastlines to historic cities, beautiful lakes and imposing mountains. In this video, I'll take you through 40 of the most amazingly beautiful locations Europe has to offer, including some less well-known that are going to leave you completely spellbound. Trust me, you don't want to miss these, and make sure to check the description below to find a map featuring all the places and timestamps if you want to skip to somewhere particular. So, are you ready? Sit back, relax, and let's go. Okay, first up on our list has got to be Tuscany, Italy. This region stole my heart with its rolling hills covered in vineyards. Picture perfect hilltop towns, and of course, the incredible food. One of the most iconic places in Tuscany is Florence, home to many masterpieces of Renaissance art and architecture, bursting with history and iconic landmarks. Like the awe-inspiring Duomo with its huge dome designed by Filippo Brunelleschi in the 15th century, and its impressive fresco on the inside. There's also the Ponte Vecchio bridge and the imposing Palazzo Vecchio. To get the best views of Florence, I walked up to the Piazzale Michelangelo, where the panoramic views of the city are absolutely amazing. Honestly, even getting lost in the little cobbled streets among the medieval buildings and hidden piazzas is pure magic. Then there's the coast. Portofino is an incredibly chic harbour town. Think fancy yachts bobbing in the turquoise water, designer boutiques lining the harbour, and celebrities strolling the picture-perfect piazzas. It's the epitome of Italian Riviera glamour. But just down the coast, you'll find something completely different. Cinque Terre, made up of 5 tiny car-free villages with brightly coloured houses that seem to tumble impossibly down the cliffside. You can hike between the villages on dramatic cliffside trails, stopping for breathtaking views of the Mediterranean at every turn. Seriously, Tuscany is pure romance, pure beauty, and pure deliciousness. Trust me, you won't regret putting it on your list. Okay, buckle up because we're heading from Tuscany to another slice of Italian paradise. The Amalfi Coast. This stunning stretch of coastline is famous for its dramatic cliffs, crystal clear waters, and picture-perfect villages clinging impossibly to the rocks. First, there's Positano, which might just be the most photographed place on the Amalfi Coast. It's hard to believe this place is even real, with houses painted in sherbet colours tumbling down the mountainside to the crystal clear waters of the Mediterranean filled with boats and yachts. Then there's Amalfi, the main town on the coast with a beautiful cathedral and a charming harbour filled with colourful fishing boats. It's a great place to soak up the local atmosphere and do some souvenir shopping. But I found the most breathtaking views in Ravello, a hilltop town perched high above the coast, offering panoramic views that took my breath away. And if you're looking for something a little off the beaten path, check out Fiordo di Furore. This tiny fjord-like inlet hides one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever been to, and it's only accessible by boat or hundreds of steps. It's a hidden gem that's perfect for escaping the crowds and enjoying a secluded swim. And no trip to the Amalfi Coast would be complete without a visit to the beautiful nearby island of Capri, probably one of the most breathtaking islands in the Mediterranean with its crystal clear waters and sheer cliffs. I rented a boat for the day, swam in hidden coves and explored the dramatic coastline, including the iconic Faraglioni rock formations. I've got some more fantastic places in Italy to show you a bit later in this video, so make sure to stick around for that. But first, we're heading across the Adriatic Sea to visit Dubrovnik, a city that's beauty will leave you speechless. Picture sparkling turquoise waters lapping against massive stone walls, terracotta rooftops cascading down a hillside, and charming little piazzas filled with cafes and shops. No wonder they call it the Pearl of the Adriatic. Wandering the maze of narrow streets inside the old town feels like stepping back in time. There's stunning architecture around every corner, from Baroque churches to Renaissance palaces. And of course, fans of Game of Thrones will recognize many filming locations throughout the city. You can even take tours specifically designed for fans. But the absolute must-do in Dubrovnik is walking the historic city walls. These UNESCO-listed fortifications offer breathtaking panoramic views of the entire city, the harbour, and the Adriatic Sea stretching out to the horizon. My favourite was to take the cable car to Mount Surge, a hill that gives you the most amazing views that take in all of Dubrovnik and Lokrum, with the Elefiti Islands filling the horizon. From here, Dubrovnik's old town looks even more surreal than usual, like a scale model of itself. There are also some beautiful beaches just outside the city walls, perfect for a refreshing dip in the Adriatic. And the food is fantastic. Fresh seafood and delicious Croatian wines are a must-try. Alright, staying in Croatia for a bit, let's completely change scenery and head inland to Plitvice Lakes National Park. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is home to a series of 16 interconnected turquoise lakes cascading down a mountainside, linked by stunning waterfalls and surrounded by lush green forests. The best way to experience the park is by following the wooden walkways that wind around the lakes and waterfalls. The water is so incredibly clear you can see right down to the bottom, and the colors are just unreal, a dazzling mix of turquoise, emerald green, and sapphire blue. There are different trails to choose from, depending on how much time you have and how active you're feeling. You can walk along the edge of the lakes, cross over gushing waterfalls, and even take a boat ride on Kozjak Lake, the largest lake in the park. And speaking of waterfalls, the star of the show is definitely Veliki Slap, the tallest waterfall in the park. The sound of the cascading water is incredibly powerful, and the spray creates little rainbows that shimmer in the sunlight. It's definitely my favorite spot in the entire park. Nestled next to Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina is a hidden gem of Europe. It might not be the first place you think of for a European adventure, but trust me, put it on your list. I want to show you two incredible places that I think you will love, just an hour drive apart. First up, the charming city of Mostar. I loved wandering the maze-like streets of this historic town, taking in the blend of Ottoman and Mediterranean influences, from narrow cobbled streets to charming mosques and lively cafes spilling out onto piazzas. The star of the show is definitely the Stari Most, the stunning 16th century bridge that spans the Neretva River. Its name literally means old bridge, and it was rebuilt after being destroyed in the war. Now it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a major draw for visitors. Less than an hour's drive away lies another must-visit, Kravica Waterfalls. The water plunges a staggering 25 meters into the emerald-colored pool below, creating a powerful roar and sending up a refreshing mist. It's the perfect spot to cool off on a hot summer day, whether you're taking a swim in the pool or just soaking up the spray. Next, we're heading to Montenegro, a hidden gem tucked away in the Adriatic bordering Bosnia-Herzegovina and Croatia. This tiny country packs a big punch when it comes to natural beauty, and nowhere more than the Bay of Kotor. Often referred to as Europe's most southerly fjord, it's surrounded by towering, rugged mountains that plunge straight down into the crystal-clear waters. Nestled along the bay are charming little towns like Perast, with its collection of beautiful Baroque churches, Venetian architecture, a laid-back vibe, and views of the lake to die for. And then there's Our Lady of the Rocks, a tiny church on a man-made island, built over centuries by sailors adding stones after every safe voyage. It's a fascinating story and a truly unique sight. But the crown jewel of the bay is definitely the UNESCO-protected town of Kotor, full of narrow streets lined with Venetian architecture, all protected by imposing medieval walls that climb dramatically up the mountainside. You can walk along the walls for breathtaking views of the bay, or if you're more adventurous, there's the Ladder of Kotor, a series of switchbacks that climb dramatically up the mountainside behind the city. The views from the top are absolutely incredible, but be warned, it's a pretty steep climb. Santorini, Greece. Now this place holds a special spot in my heart. Ever since I saw those iconic whitewashed houses with the bright blue domes cascading down the cliffs, I knew I had to visit. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. The main town of Oya is like stepping into a postcard. Those sugar cube houses clinging to the cliffsides, with bougainvillea flowers spilling over balconies, and the charming little churches with their bright blue domes. It's pure magic. Every corner you turn is another picture-perfect moment. As the sun goes down, This place looks even more magical as the fiery sky melts into the Aegean Sea and the buildings glow pink, yellow, and orange. It's a breathtaking experience that stays with you long after the last rays disappear. The beaches here are unlike any you've ever seen. Volcanic black or dramatic red sand beaches, it's a whole different world. And for the adventurous types, there's always a hike to the top of Prophet Elias, the island's highest point. The panoramic views from up there are absolutely breathtaking, a perfect way to truly grasp the unique beauty of Santorini. Perched precariously on top of gigantic rock pillars that look like giant fingers reaching up towards the sky, the Eastern Orthodox monasteries of Meteora are one of the most awe-inspiring sights in Greece. The story goes that monks started building these monasteries in the 14th century, seeking a place of solitude and peace. And let me tell you, the views they get up there are absolutely breathtaking. Rolling green plains stretch out as far as the eye can see, dotted with tiny villages. It's a scene that will leave you speechless. Not all the monasteries are still functioning, but a few are still active and open to visitors. Inside, you'll find beautiful frescoes telling stories from the Bible and the lives of saints, giving you a glimpse into a bygone era. Climbing up to the monasteries isn't for the faint of heart. Some involve steep steps carved right into the cliff face. But trust me, the effort is absolutely worth it. It's really a place anyone traveling to Greece should try and see. You won't find anything else quite like it in the world. Nestled between Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia, Slovenia packs a serious punch when it comes to natural beauty. And there's no better place to experience it than one of my all-time favorite spots in Europe, Lake Bled. Slovenia's crown jewel. Picture a fairy tale-like lake surrounded by emerald forests and the snow-capped peaks of the Julian Alps. In the center of the lake, a tiny island with a picturesque church seems to float on the crystal-clear water, with a cliff-top castle perched above it all. It's definitely like something out of a Disney movie. I loved renting a boat and rowing across to Bled Island, where the charming church with its distinctive bell tower sits perched on the water's edge. Legend says that if you ring the bell and make a wish, it will come true. Overlooking the entire scene from a dramatic clifftop is Bled Castle, a medieval fortress with stunning views of the lake and the surrounding mountains. The surrounding area is a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. You can hike or bike through the lush forests, or even go for a swim in the refreshing waters, although it's best to wait until summer, as those mountain lakes can get chilly. Straddling the Danube River, Budapest is often referred to as the Queen of the Danube, and you can enjoy its beautiful architecture and historic landmarks. The city buzzes with creativity, which spills over into the vibrant nightlife. Revelers will love the Ruin Bars district, a unique and vibrant part of the city, renowned for its vibrant ruin pubs, set in dilapidated buildings and courtyards, offering a unique nightlife scene. Buda Castle, perched atop Castle Hill on the Buda side, and Fisherman's Bastion, with its fairy tale turrets, offer panoramic views of the city. The iconic chain bridge connects Buda and Pest, the two sides of the city, creating a picturesque link between the medieval and modern. The city's famous thermal baths provide a relaxing experience in opulent surroundings, while Andrassy Avenue is lined with elegant neo-Renaissance buildings, luxury boutiques and theatres, leading to Heroes Square, a monument celebrating Hungary's history. The Hungarian Parliament building, a neo-Gothic masterpiece, graces the Pest side of the Danube and is particularly enchanting when illuminated at night. Why not treat yourself to a night river cruise, where you can view Budapest's floodlit landmarks by boat? You can enjoy a glass of wine or a meal while you admire the cityscapes as you cruise by the Hungarian Parliament and Buda Castle district twinkling with lights, and sail under the illuminated chain bridge and other bridges. And I bet you didn't know, Budapest has the second oldest subway line in the world after London. The Millennium Underground Railway, also known as Metro Line 1, was opened in 1896. The city's rich tapestry of history, coupled with its vibrant contemporary culture, makes Budapest a captivating destination for those seeking a blend of old-world charm and modern sophistication. Let me take you now to Austria, where I was lucky enough to spend a few days exploring. and I just had to visit Hallstatt, the place they call the Pearl of Austria. It has some of the most breathtaking scenery you'll ever find, with the charming town nestled between majestic mountains, its colourful houses tumbling down the mountainside, reflected perfectly in the still waters of the crystal-clear lake. Hallstatt is one of Austria's most visited towns, but it's picture perfect from every angle. Stroll along the cobbled streets, lined with charming shops and cafes, and soak up the fresh mountain air. Take a boat ride and marvel at the beauty of the surrounding mountains reflected in the lake. Or for a bird's-eye view, hike up to the viewing platform and see the entire village sprawled out below like a miniature world. Vienna, the capital of Austria, is famous for its rich cultural heritage, stunning architecture, and musical legacy. It's a modern and vibrant city, with plenty of attractions and activities for all kinds of travelers. Let's start with the Schönbrunn Palace, the former summer residence of the Habsburg dynasty, where you can take a tour of the palace, explore the gardens, and visit the zoo. Other must-see sites include St. Stephen's Cathedral, where you can climb up the towers, visit the catacombs, and admire the colourful roof. The Hofburg Imperial Palace, formerly the winter residence of the Austrian royal family, and now a lasting tribute to the glory of the Habsburg Empire. It's one of Vienna's most magnificent Baroque palaces. And Belvedere Palace, built in the 18th century as the summer residence of Prince Eugene of Savoy, another of the many treasures of Vienna's Baroque era. And if you love music, you should not miss the Vienna State Opera House, one of the most prestigious opera houses in the world. Or visit the Vienna Musikverein, the world-famous concert hall, and the home of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. The historic centre is where you'll find Vienna City Hall, Parliament, and the lively Museum Quarter. Also known as the First District or Inner City, the area is rich with Baroque castles and gardens, as well as the 19th century Ringstrasse, a beltway of grand buildings, monuments, and parks that encircles most of the inner city. There are enough landmark sites here to keep you snapping photos all day long. If you have some extra time, you can also take a day trip to Melk Abbey, a stunning Baroque monastery on the Danube River. You can visit the Abbey Church, the library, and the museum, and enjoy the views of the Güell Valley. Next, we're going to drop into the Czech Republic. Ever wondered what it would be like to tumble into the pages of a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale? Just step into Prague's Old Town Square. Cobbled streets are lined with pastel-colored buildings, each with a story to tell. All lead to the heart of the medieval square, dominated by the mesmerizing astronomical clock, a crazy creation that's been telling the time and the phases of the moon since the 1400s. It even puts on a little puppet show every hour. I climbed the rickety old stairs of the Old Town Hall to get awesome views over the town towards the iconic Charles Bridge, a historic landmark that's been standing for over 600 years. Lined with statues of saints and adorned with beautiful Baroque details, it's a testament to the city's rich history dating back to the days of the Holy Roman Empire. And towering over it all is Prague Castle, the largest ancient castle complex in the world. Within its walls, you will find historic buildings, museums, and galleries holding some of the Czech Republic's great artistic treasures. And from its ramparts, you can enjoy breathtaking views of this magical city. Speaking of castles, we're heading now to explore two of Germany's most iconic castles that you're gonna find hard to believe. First up, the mighty Hohenzollern Castle, a dramatic fortress perched high on a mountaintop in southern Germany that for centuries was the ancestral seat of the Prussian royal family. It's one of the most impressive castles in Germany, with its labyrinth of towers, turrets, and ramparts, all built in the neo-Gothic style, just like something you'd expect to see in a storybook. Construction began in the 11th century, and the castle has a long and fascinating history, from withstanding sieges to being used as a retreat for the royal family. About a 3-hour drive south in Bavaria, and right on the border with Austria, we come to the town of Füssen. Nestled amidst the dramatic peaks of the Alps, we find the epitome of a fairy tale castle, the Schloss Neuschwanstein. It was built as a palace for King Ludwig II of Bavaria, who was obsessed with medieval legends and Wagnerian operas. He built Neuschwanstein as a retreat in the 19th century. With its colourful turrets, elaborate facades and swan motifs scattered throughout, Neuschwanstein is said to have been the inspiration for Disney's Cinderella Castle. No surprise then, it's one of the most visited places in Germany. And of course, no visit to Neuschwanstein is complete without marveling at the stunning views of the surrounding mountains and lakes. Next, we're heading to what I think is my new favorite place in Europe, the Lauterbrunnen Valley in the Swiss Alps. I was lucky enough to spend some time here recently, and I completely fell in love with the place. It's a dramatic valley carved by glaciers with towering cliffs on either side that seem to reach endlessly towards the sky. Over 70 waterfalls cascade down these cliffs like white ribbons, creating a magical feel. In fact, it's said that Lauterbrunnen was Tolkien's inspiration for Rivendell in The Lord of the Rings. The undisputed star here is Stabbursfall, Europe's highest waterfall, where water plunges 297 meters into the valley below. It's a sight that will leave you breathless. From here, you can also hop on the mountain train that winds its way up the mountain to the car-free ski resort of Wengen. From here, the panoramic views of the Lauterbrunnen Valley and lush meadows bursting with wildflowers in summer are breathtaking. Another place you can go to nearby is the beautiful alpine village of Mürren. It's a haven for fresh mountain air, breathtaking panoramas, and a slower pace of life. But one of the most exciting things I got to do here was the iconic Via Ferrata climbing route between Mürren and Gimmenwald, where I had to navigate along the colossal Lauterbrunnen Valley walls over 1,000 feet in the air following steel steps, zip lines, and ladders. Looking down made my heart race, but it's perfectly safe as long as you're clipped to the metal cable. My favorite part was crossing the suspension bridge that spans the gorge. I don't mind saying I was absolutely terrified, but it's an unforgettable experience if you're craving a bit of adrenaline. There's still plenty more amazing places coming up to show you, but if you're dreaming about all the places in the world you want to see, interested in discovering new places, and watching videos like this, and this, then why not subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment about your dream travel destinations? Okay, history and architecture lovers. Next, we're heading to Spain's most visited and beautiful monument, the Alhambra. This magnificent palace, perched on a hill overlooking the city of Granada, is a sprawling complex that was once a fortress, a royal residence, and a cultural center, all rolled into one. The Alhambra story is as fascinating as its architecture. Originally built as a fortress in the 9th century, it was transformed into a royal palace by the Nasrid dynasty in the 13th and 14th centuries. Islamic influences blend beautifully with Moorish design, creating a unique style that's one of the most extraordinary structures in the world, and the most enduring symbol of over 800 years of Moorish rule in medieval Spain. Intricate tilework adorned the walls, delicate arches frame stunning views, and tranquil courtyards are filled with the scent of orange blossoms. From afar, Alhambra's towers dominate the Granada skyline, its red walls rising above the tree line, set against a backdrop of the Sierra Nevadas' snow-capped peaks. Now let's head south to the Spanish region of Andalusia and get ready to be blown away by a place that feels like it jumped straight out of a history book. Ronda. This mountaintop town is perched dramatically above the deep El Tejo gorge, and the views are absolutely breathtaking. Dramatically spanning the gorge to connect the old town and the new is the amazing Puente Nuevo Bridge, definitely one of the most scenic bridges I've ever seen. Built back in the 18th century, it stands 120 meters above the base of the gorge and took decades to complete. Standing on its lookout point, the views are simply jaw-dropping. Walk across it and take a peek down at the dizzying drop below. Just don't look down if you're afraid of heights. The bridge itself is a fascinating piece of history, and there's even a small museum inside where you can learn all about its construction. Speaking of history, Ronda is also the birthplace of modern bullfighting. The Plaza de Toros, one of the oldest bull rings in Spain, still stands proudly in the old town. Now, bullfighting might not be for everyone, but the ring itself is a beautiful example of 18th century architecture. Barcelona, the capital of Catalonia and one of the most vibrant cities in Spain. Barcelona is a city that combines the old and the new, the traditional and the modern, and will captivate you with its charm, energy, and diversity. The architect Antoni Gaudí left his mark all over the city with his unique and colorful style. Some of his most famous creations are the Sagrada Família, the still unfinished basilica that is the symbol of Barcelona, the Park Güell that offers a panoramic view of the city, the Casa Batlló, one of Barcelona's most intriguing buildings, nicknamed the House of Bones for its contorted window frames and skeletal pillars, and the equally unusual Casa Mila, another Gaudí creation with its wave-like stone exterior. Barcelona's Gothic quarter dates back to the Middle Ages, and the neighborhood's age is evident in its narrow winding roads, shaded plazas, and beautiful architecture, including 3 major cathedrals. Close by is Las Ramblas, Barcelona's most famous street, a tree-shaded pedestrian expanse that's a microcosm of Barcelona, and it's almost always busy, day or night. Barcelona is bursting with museums and galleries, including the Picasso Museum, where you can see the works of the famous painter. And don't miss the Plaça de Catalunya, the main square of the city, where many events and celebrations take place. And the Barceloneta beach. If time allows, take a half-day excursion to Montserrat Mountain. The Desirated Mountain is a unique rock formation 30 miles northwest of Barcelona. It has a Benedictine monastery with a 12th century statue of La Moreneta, the Black Madonna, the patron saint of Catalonia. The mountain is a Catholic pilgrimage site and offers stunning views from its peaks. And did you know that Barcelona has its own version of the Statue of Liberty? It's a bronze sculpture of a woman holding a torch, located in a library called Biblioteca Aris. Next, we're crossing into Portugal and the UNESCO heritage-listed site of Sintra. Due to its spectacular scenery, it was here that generations of Portuguese royals erected grand castles, extravagant palaces, and historic villas atop soaring hills and mountains. Let's start with the crown jewel Peña Palace. This 19th century marvel is a riot of color and architectural styles, a mix of romanticism, Gothic and Islamic influences, all thrown together in a truly unique way. Bright yellow walls, red turrets, and stained glass windows that shimmer in the sunlight. It's like a storybook castle come to life. Inside, the palace is just as fascinating, with grand halls decorated with intricate carvings and stunning painted tiles. Next, take the 2-kilometer hike through the rainforest, up the spiraling cobblestoned hill to the ruins of the Moorish castle, a 10th century fortification that once guarded the region. The castle itself is a testament to Portugal's rich past. Climb the ramparts and soak up the breathtaking views of the surrounding landscape, including Peña Palace perched on the hilltop below, the verdant hills rolling into the distance, and the sparkling Atlantic Ocean on a clear day. Now let's swap the warmth of the Mediterranean for the charm and breathtaking natural beauty of the Nordics. We'll start in one of my favorite cities, Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark and apparently one of the happiest cities in the world. Copenhagen's iconic landmarks include the Little Mermaid, a bronze statue inspired by the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, the Tivoli Gardens, the second oldest amusement park in the world, and the Nyhavn, a colorful harbor full of cafes, restaurants, and boats. You can also visit the Old Stock Exchange, a Renaissance building with a spire made of intertwined dragontail, the Christiansborg Palace, the seat of the Danish Parliament, and the Amalienborg Palace, the residence of the royal family, where you can watch the changing of the guard. Also worth visiting is the Rosenborg Castle, the 17th century palace that houses the royal collections and Danish crown jewels. The Christiania, the self-proclaimed autonomous neighborhood known for its alternative lifestyle. The Copenhagen Opera House, one of the most expensive opera houses ever built. The Round Tower, the oldest functioning observatory in Europe. And the Kronborg Castle, the setting of Shakespeare's Hamlet. Copenhagen also has a giant artificial ski slope on top of a waste-to-energy plant where you can ski all year round. And if you want to try some of the best food in Copenhagen, you can go to the Torvhallen Market, the indoor market that has more than 60 stalls selling fresh produce, gourmet products, and street food. Next, we're crossing the Skagerrak to Norway and the natural beauty of its fjords. The UNESCO-listed Geiranger Fjord is considered by many to be the jewel in the crown. Surrounded by majestic mountain peaks, 800-meter-high cliffs, and cascading waterfalls, it's over 15 kilometers long and up to 260 meters deep. The famous Seven Sisters, Bridal Veil and Suter waterfalls are some of the most impressive things to marvel at as you cruise the fjord. Or take in the breathtaking panoramic views from the Eagle Road, a winding mountain road offering unforgettable views from the Ornsvingen viewpoint. Or keep going further to the even more impressive Geringer Skywalk 1500 meters above sea level. I took a trip about 2 hours further north to the beautiful turquoise glacier lake of Lavatnet, where I got to see the mighty Ramnefjellsfossen waterfall cascading over 800 meters down the mountainside. It was absolutely spectacular to see. Further south, you'll find Lysefjorden, where the iconic Pulpit Rock juts out over 600 meters above the fjord below, another place where the views are simply heart-stopping, especially if you're brave enough to look over the edge. Time for another hidden gem, and one of my personal favourite places to visit when I'm back home in the UK. England's Northumbrian coastline. Stretching along the coast of the North Sea, this beautiful coastline boasts dramatic landscapes, wide open spaces, amazing wildlife, and some of the most immaculate beaches you'll ever see. My favourite things to visit, though, are the magnificent castles that dot the coastline. Dunstanburgh Castle is a dramatic ruin perched on a cliff top with amazing views out to sea. Bamborough Castle is another grand fortress overlooking a vast sandy beach with stunning views and a glimpse into England's past. And don't forget Alnwick Castle, instantly recognisable to Harry Potter fans as Hogwarts' School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in the film. Next, we're heading to the wild and rugged beauty of the Scottish Highlands, where towering mountains, shimmering lochs, and dramatic glens will leave you breathless. First up, the dramatic valley of Glencoe, carved by glaciers centuries ago. Towering mountains rise on either side, creating a sense of awe and wilderness that will simply take your breath away with its beauty. Every turn in the road leads to a view more stunning than the last. Close by is Ben Nevis, Britain's highest mountain. Climbing it is not for the faint-hearted or inexperienced, but offers stunning panoramic views for those who do. And for those who prefer a gentler pace, there are plenty of other trails nearby to explore. Or you can take the gondola to the top, hike the trails, or mountain bike down to the bottom. Another place I loved visiting was the Glenfinnan Viaduct. It's located nearby at the top of the beautiful Loch Shiel, and you'll probably recognise it as the Hogwarts Express from the Harry Potter movies. The impressive curving viaduct has 21 arches and allows the railway to cross the River Finnan. It is still in use today, and if you get there at the right time, you can see the historic steam train cross it. The Highlands are also home to the iconic Loch Ness, Britain's largest freshwater lake. One of the best places to visit to truly appreciate the beauty of this place is Urquhart Castle, a majestic ruin perched on the loch shore, offering stunning panoramic views and a glimpse into the region's history. The Wild Atlantic Way is 1,600 miles of road that snakes along the western coast of Ireland. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll already know how much I love road trips, and driving the entire Wild Atlantic Way is definitely ambitious. In fact, if you stopped at all 157 viewpoints to explore, it would take over a month to complete. Some of the best must-stop spots, though, are the Ring of Kerry, the Dingle Peninsula, with its rolling hills, sandy beaches and craggy cliffs, and the absolutely stunning cliffs of Moher, which stretch around 14 kilometers along Ireland's Atlantic coast and reaching over 200 meters above the sea at some point. You can follow the cliff walk, and if possible, I recommend visiting at sunset, where the fading sunlight turns the cliffs a fiery orange. Let's head south again now, across the English Channel to France, hopefully for some better weather. Nestled on the coast of Normandy lies Mont Saint-Michel, an amazing tidal island with a rocky outcrop crowned by a magnificent abbey rising majestically out of the vast bay. It's a magical view, and the whole island looks like something you'd expect to see in a fantasy movie, making it a must for any European travel list. Twice a day, the tide transforms the landscape. At low tide, you take the 4-kilometer walk along the causeway or get the shuttle bus from the mainland to the island, giving you a great opportunity to drink in the views and the beauty of Mont Saint-Michel as you approach. Later in the day, the causeway vanishes and Mont Saint-Michel becomes an island, magically surrounded by the sea. This dramatic transformation adds to the island's mystique, and is a sight to behold. As well as the impressive abbey, which you can climb to and explore, there's also a complete fortified medieval town nestled within its walls. Wander the narrow cobbled streets lined with shops and restaurants and soak up the historical atmosphere. If there's one thing they do well in France, it's medieval history. So in case you haven't noticed already, I've got a thing for lakes. I'd love to have included the Italian lakes in this video, but another beautiful lake area I've fallen in love with is Lake Annecy in France. Located at the foot of the French Alps near the border with Switzerland, the lake's crystal-clear turquoise waters are fed by mountain springs. The water's so clear it reflects the snow-capped peaks of the mountains that surround the lake. The beautiful medieval town of Annecy at the north end of the lake is nicknamed the Venice of the Alps for its canals and bridges. It's a delightful place to explore the maze of cobbled streets lined with shops and cafes and restaurants. I just love taking a dip in the refreshingly cool water and renting a paddleboard or kayak to explore the lake from a different perspective. I'd been wanting to visit the Verdun Gorge for years, and I'm so glad I finally did. I see now why it's called the Grand Canyon of Europe. Located a couple hours north of the French Riviera and east of the Provence region, it's especially famous for its epic white limestone cliffs and turquoise water, and it does not disappoint. The bright blue hue comes from glacial minerals and is so striking in person. The most photographed spot is from the Pont du Galetas bridge, which overlooks the gorge and all the boats entering the Verdun River. You can easily park nearby and walk onto the bridge to capture a photo of the stunning water and boats below. There's also plenty of beaches in the area to swim. I particularly loved the Plage de Chabassol. Hire a boat or a paddleboard and explore some of the gorge's 25 kilometers of clear blue waters, dwarfed by the imposing sheer cliffs either side. Next, we're going to visit the island of Corsica. Located right above Sardinia, Corsica is a beautiful island full of diverse landscapes, jagged mountains, and some of France's best coastline. One of my favorite spots to visit on the island is the medieval town of Bonifacio, perched precariously on dramatic white cliffs overlooking the sea. Wander the maze of narrow streets, explore the ancient citadel, and soak up the panoramic views that stretch for miles. If you're feeling adventurous, take a boat trip through the impressive Grotto di Bonifacio, a network of sea caves carved by nature, and marvel at the dazzling displays of light and water. Just south of Bonifacio are the Lavezzi Islands, stunning archipelago with pristine beaches, crystal clear waters perfect for snorkeling, and a sense of secluded paradise. And if you prefer to explore on land, there are plenty of hiking trails that wind through the island's interior, offering breathtaking views of the mountains, valleys, and the sparkling Mediterranean Sea. Other great spots to visit on Corsica are the ancient citadel in Calvi, the charming streets of Isle Rousse, or simply relax on a beach and enjoy the laid-back island lifestyle. We're going to return now to the wonderful Italy and two of my absolute favorite cities in Europe to explore and soak up the culture. But before that, if you're dreaming of where to travel next, why not subscribe and tell me in the comments what 3 places in Europe you'd love to visit. I'd love to include some of these in my next video. Rome, the eternal city and one of the most ancient cities in Europe. It's withstood millennia to dazzle 21st century visitors with ancient ruins, gorgeous squares, and more art than you could ever wish to see. Tours of iconic ruins and ancient monuments, such as the Colosseum, the Pantheon, the Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill, are the first things you'll want to head for. One of the most impressive places to visit is the Vatican City, the smallest sovereign state in the world, where you will marvel at St. Peter's Square and Basilica, the Vatican Museums, and the Sistine Chapel, where you can admire the frescoes by Michelangelo. You'll also want to make time for a visit to Piazza Navona, the elegant square famous for its fountains, and the Trevi Fountain, the largest and most popular in the city, where you can toss a coin and make a wish. Also, don't miss Trastevere, the charming and lively neighborhood full of cafes, restaurants, and bars, and where you can feel the authentic Roman spirit. Did you know that Rome has a secret passage that connects the Vatican to the Castel Sant'Angelo, the fortress that was once the mausoleum of Hadrian? The passage was used by the popes to escape in case of danger, and it is now open to the public. The best way to enjoy the beauty of Rome is by walking along the streets, discovering the hidden gems and the stunning views of the city. Of all the places in Italy, I think Venice has to be my favorite. I just keep coming back here. Okay, it can be busy in summer, but visit in spring or autumn and it's just stunning. Venice is unlike any other city in the world, as it's built on islands, 118 to be exact, joined by canals. Venice is a masterpiece of engineering and art, where you can admire the beauty of its architecture and the charm of its waterways. Take a gondola ride along the canals. Visit St. Mark's Square, where you can see the stunning basilica, a Byzantine church that is the symbol of Venice. You can also climb the Campanile di San Marco, the bell tower that offers a view of the city. Visit the Rialto Bridge, the oldest and most famous bridge over the Grand Canal, Doge's Palace, and the Bridge of Sighs. And don't miss the Basilica di Santa Maria della Salute, a majestic church on the Grand Canal. Venice is a city that has so much to offer, but it can also be very crowded, so plan your visit carefully. The best time to visit is in the spring or the autumn, when the weather is mild and the crowds are smaller. Venice is a walkable city, but one of the best ways to get around is by using the Vaporetto, the water bus that runs along the canals and connects the islands. Other hidden gems that you can discover include the Scala Contarini del Bovolo, a spiral staircase that leads to a terrace, and the Libreria Acqua Alta, a quirky bookstore that keeps its books in bathtubs and boats to protect them from flooding. Venice is a totally unique and captivating city, full of life, history, and art. And if you have a little more time to spare, book a day trip to the beautiful Dolomite Mountains and Lake Braise. Located just north of Venice, you'll experience the most spellbinding alpine scenery in Italy. Admire the soaring peaks, crystalline lakes, and postcard-perfect towns, most of which are inaccessible by public transportation. Now, if you're wondering why places like Paris or Amsterdam didn't make it into this list, well, check out this video here, where you can see a rundown of my top 10 favorite cities in Europe. With that said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment. And I'll see you next time.